funny how dumb you are.
Wow, that's a great offer. How about instead I shuffle the functions of every hole in your face? Things change, Stanford Pines. Things
Lots of things.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram.
It never stops. Time is dead and meaning has no meaning. Existence is upside down and I reign supreme. Welcome one and all to Weird Forgetting.
Gravity Falls, an iconic Disney show with many amazing characters such as Dipper, the nerdy dork who I relate to on a personal level, Grunkle Stan, the comedic yet heartwarming guy, him. And we don't talk about Mabel. But anyways, today I am here to talk about one particular character, one of, if not my personal favorite villain of all time, and the main antagonist of this show, Bill Cipher. Now, I was recently brought back into the fandom because of, you guessed it, the Book of Sans. I was brought into this fandom again because of Sans the Skeleton from Undertale. But, anyways, a lot of people talk about what makes Bill Cipher such a great villain. And personally, I'm here to bring my take. My take on what makes him so good is how he impacts the protagonists. So I'm going to go through every single episode he appears in, from Dreamscaper's great name all the way to Weirdmageddon, and see what impacts he leaves on our main cast. Let's get into it. So, first of all, we're going to talk about Dreamscaperers. Again, great name. And this episode was certainly a great introduction for the character, beginning with good old Getting Gleeful, that little idiot, summoning him, even though many books have cautioned against it, although he didn't, to be fair, he didn't have the one that, cautioned against it. But anyways, yeah. He was summoned, and immediately he made his presence known by ripping a deer's teeth out and then putting them back in. Yes, quite the beginning for this character. But, anyways, now after that, he makes a deal with Gideon, one of his core attributes, that he will get the code to Grunkle Stan's safe where he's hiding one of the 3 journals, those ones. And in return, he will help Bill with something that he will specify later on. And so the whole episode is, from that point on, is basically just chasing down Bill Cipher inside of Stan's mind. And they go through several memories and stuff. And at some point along the road, Bill replaces Seuss, and he manages to steal the code from them by, tricking them like that. And in his words, it's funny how dumb they are. But, this is probably the start of his impact on the main characters. He already, with Dipper, for example, one of the main characters, and the much more favorable one above Mabel, and, he impacts Dipper by, this whole adventure into the mind, I don't know if it exactly strengthened the relationship. Well, it probably did, but anyways, that's the first big impact they left on one of the characters. And he also impacted the story by, sure, his mission failed because the code went into the bottomless pit, which, you guessed it, is bottomless, although not really. I don't know how that thing works, and I don't think anyone in the universe does either. So he may have failed his mission, but he did provide a good enough distraction for Gideon to get into the safe with dynamite, which led to the event of the season finale, Gideon Rises. So already he's making a sizable impact on our characters. However, he doesn't appear again in that full season. So we're gonna have to jump to season 2 for his next appearance, which is in Sock Opera. So, in this episode, Mabel finds yet another boy to chase after, typical Mabel, and, she starts to do so by putting on a big sock puppet show, and, honestly, pretty cool that she was able to put that all together in, a week? I don't know, I haven't watched the series in a long time. like a year, I think. But anyways, yeah. During this time, Dipper's trying to crack into a laptop he found in episode 2, which, yeah, he's clearly struggling to figure out what the password is, and then it begins to go into I think erasing the files, I think, on the computer. So he has to hurry up. And all of a sudden, Bill appears, because earlier on in the episode, they had a little confrontation where Bill offered to help Dipper with the computer in return for something else. But yeah, Dipper didn't accept then, but now he's back to try to do that again, now with the added sense of urgency. And he decides that in exchange, he just wants one of Mabel's puppets. And he actually brings up some pretty good points here.
Besides, what's your sister done for you lately? How many times have you sacrificed for her, huh? And when has she ever returned the favor?
Seriously, Mabel, you know when a literal dream demon is saying that you're a bad person, you need to change, but that's a video for another time. Right now we're talking about Bill, and so they make the deal, and Bill chooses a puppet. He chose the flesh puppet.
Eeny, meeny, miny.
Yeah, Bill decides to take over Dipper's body, and now he is trying to find Dipper's journal to, do stuff, do evil stuff. And, he finds out that, he finds out that Mabel took it and is using it as a prop for her little play. Screw you, Mabel. You have no idea what that book contains. But, anyways, moving on from that. Next now we gotta talk about how this impacts all the characters. So, with Dipper specifically in this case. So, Dipper, not Dipper, So, let me get my words together. Dipper tends to bend over backwards for his sister whenever because, throughout the series, there have been many times where Dipper has sacrificed his wants and needs for hers. For example, one thing that was shown when Bill was doing that thing, Mabel found a merman in a pool who she liked, typical, yeah. But yeah. Anyways, Dipper gave up his lifeguard job, to help him get back to sea. And the merman then proceeded to get married to a seal a couple weeks later. So, yeah, amazing. We should just let him die, honestly. But, anyways, moving on from that. My point is that Dipper constantly is, Dipper is constantly bending over backwards for his sister, and this kind of enlightens him on the fact that, hey, I'm doing all this stuff and sacrificing all this for her. What the hell has she done for me? Yeah. So, yeah, she kinda owes him one, or two, or three, or a lot more than that. I don't know how many at this point. It's a lot. But, anyways, it kinda just enlightens him on that fact. And so, they both head to the sock opera, and Dipper takes control of a sock puppet of himself. And, Mabel can't help but laugh. Can you tell I hate this girl yet? But, anyways, yeah, they kind of talk about this whole thing, and yeah, Mabel kind of needs to, get the journal away from Bill. Or, in this case, Bill Dipper. Bipper. Mabel, that's one of the few things I'll give you. But anyways, yeah. Anyways, Bipper and Mabel have a bit of a fight, and of course, Bipper tires out because he's in a human body. And so, after that brief, fight, Grunkle Stan has a new thing he can sell, and, yeah, Dipper gets his body back, and Bill is thwarted yet again. But, anyways, that's the end of his presence in this episode. Now, how does he impact the characters in this? So, the way he does that is he helps both of them realize that Dipper is constantly making sacrifices for Mabel, and Mabel never really pays it back. Like it never really gets paid for it ever. So they both kind of realize that, and it doesn't help. It doesn't get fixed at all. So yeah, that was very helpful. But anyways, now on to his next appearance. Anyways, after that, he doesn't appear again until until the last Mabel corn. Basically, Mabel goes out to find Unicorn, but that's basically the B plot to a lot of people. Sure, it is the A plot, but who cares about that, am I right? We got way better stuff on the other side. Anyways, the episode starts with Ford having a nightmare in which Bill Cipher comes to him and basically tells him, hey, someday you're gonna slip up and that will blah. So, let me explain this to you for a second. So, when Ford came back, he brought with him a little rift that basically keeps Bill Cipher out of the real world, basically. So Bill's any day now you're gonna slip up and that thing's gonna break and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna ruin your life. And yeah, it's quite a threatening scene, honestly. And yeah, basically Bill then, Ford then wakes up and decides to send, Mabel to go get some unicorn hair to, block the Mystery Shack from Bill's attacks if Weird Mageddon were to come. Which, spoiler alert, it does, and we'll get to that soon. But, yeah, his impact in this episode is basically just driving the main plot along. However, we also have to go a bit into the past for this. You see, in this episode, they also explore Ford's memories with Bill Cipher, and basically, back then, Bill Cipher came to Ford when he was, struggling, basically told him every 1,000 years or 100 years, I don't know, some big amount of years, Bill comes to people to, help them make different do things. And so, he's chosen to help Ford with his thing, with Ford not knowing that it's all just one big manipulation tactic, all the flattery, all the compliments, all that stuff. And so, thanks to that, Bill almost manages to cause Weird Mageddon before the show even starts. However, luckily for that, Ford stops it, and then gets into contact with Stanley, and yeah, basically this one moment basically triggered a majority of the series. Well, except for things like Dipper and Mabel coming there for the summer. But yeah, it's also the reason that Ford was lost in space for a couple decades or something. I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, he doesn't have much more appearances in this episode until the mid-credit scene, where he says that he's gonna look for someone to, help him help his plans on the outside, and who's he choose but Blendin Blandin. I might make a video on him at some point in the future. God, I have a lot of Gravity Falls videos that I could do. Anyways, yeah. Now we move on to his next appearance in the penultimate episode of the series, unless you count Weird Mageddon Part 1, 2, and 3 as separate episodes. Bill and Dipper... No, not Dipper and Mabel versus the future. Basically, let me basically tell you what happens in this. So, Dipper accepts the idea that he could stay in Gravity Falls and basically be Ford's apprentice to help him with all his schmayans. And Mabel ain't too fond of the idea. And yeah, this scene is probably the reason that half the community hates her, including me. I hate Mabel with every fiber of my being. Anyways, back to Evil Triangle Head. So, basically, what happens next is that Bill comes to Mabel when she's in distress, and basically makes an offer. So, he's inhabiting Blendin Blandin's body at this point, by the way. So, basically, he makes the offer that that he can make like a time rift so that the summer won't end. So, and in exchange, maybe we'll have to give him the rift. Oh wait, no, it's called a time bubble. Never mind. We'll have to give him the rift because luckily she brought the wrong bag, or unluckily, I guess. And because Mabel is a selfish, evil little gremlin, she agrees. And guess what? It was a trick. Now Armageddon has begun, and now we enter a four-part if we're on Disney Plus series of episodes. It's basically the apocalypse. So let's get into that. Okay, future me here. I realized that I forgot to talk about Stanchurian Candidate. Basically, at the end of that episode, good old Gideon is back in jail, and he decides to summon Bill Cipher once again, which is how we got to the last Mabel Corn and all that. So, just giving you that added context. So, the rift is broken, and Bill Cipher can now cause Weirdmageddon. So, now he has his own physical form, which he didn't have prior, because he can only really be tangible in the dreamscape. But now he is causing a bit of chaos around Gravity Falls, and he's throwing in a bunch of his what are they called? Just give me a second. Oh yeah, his arch maniacs. No, it's hench maniacs. Sorry, but yeah, he also does a bunch of like weirdness bubbles, I guess, that they basically just make people go insane. And what does he do to Mabel, you may ask? Well, he locks her up in a bubble full of everything that she likes, and it basically creates like the whole conflict of part 2. So we're not really gonna be talking much about part 2, but I'm just gonna generally like list off what happens with him throughout this episode. So, first of all, he does this whole thing, and then once he realizes that Dipper and Ford are still out there, all like the crazy people and henchmaniacs are all after them. And there's also one way to kill him, which is to give him a shot from right in the middle of his body, which Ford missed. And then he got turned into a golden back scratcher for Ford. No, for Bill. And then, after this, there's 2 things I want to talk about before I get into Take Back the Falls. So, first of all, he destroys Time Baby. Like, let me just play this scene for you to, properly show it.
This is the police. Time police.
Just play it cool. Ditch the time punch. Let me do the talking.
Bill Cipher, you are in violation of the rules of space-time and possessing the body of a time officer.
My body is a temple. How dare you?
Hear this, Cipher.
Ugh, Time Baby.
If your rip in this dimension continues, it could destroy the very fabric of existence. Surrender now or face my tantrum.
Oh no, a tantrum. Whatever will I do about that? How about this? Boom!
Yep, he just murdered Time Baby and the Time Police like it's nothing. Very crazy. Now he rules over time itself. However, are they gonna stop him now? Well, there's one thing getting in his way, and it is a barrier set around Gravity Falls. No, not the same barrier as Undertale, alright? This is Gravity Falls, not Undertale, buddy. But, it's like a bubble surrounding Gravity Falls that doesn't allow him or any of his weirdness to escape. And he needs Ford to break that bubble. However, it's clear that Ford isn't really going to comply with that. Anyways, now it's time for me to discuss Take Back the Falls, the final part of Weirdmageddon, and a final send-off for one of the greatest villains of all time. Well, in my opinion, at least. So, in this episode, everyone's kind of cooped up in the Mystery Shack, because, as you might remember from the last Mabel Corn, it's protected from Bill Cipher, and they turn it into a robot, so Bill Cipher can't really do much about it. However, they forgot to reinforce the legs and the arms. However, while that distraction is at play, they send in the 12 characters on the Zodiac. Have I showed you the Zodiac yet? Well, let me just put that on screen. Alright, we have the question mark, which represents Zeus, the ice, which represents Wendy, whatever's on Stan's hat, which obviously represents Stan, the pine tree, guess who? Dipper, obviously. The star, which represents Gideon, which showed up on top of his head of telepathy in his first appearance. The six-finger hand, guess who that's for? The llama, which is for Pacifica Northwest, I don't know what that has to do with her character. A shooting star for Mabel. The heart for Robbie, and the glasses for Phil from McGucket. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on anything here, but I'm pretty sure that the purpose of these is to either summon him or destroy him, depending on whether he's alive or dead. And so they all come together, but once again, Stan and Ford just can't get along, and so, yeah, that plan is screwed. And so everyone but the two sets of Pines twins gets, 1 second. Yeah, they get turned into banners, and Stanford and Stanley get locked up in a cage. And so, Dipper and Mabel start to run so they can all enact their final plan. And, yeah, Bill chases them down, looking like this, and saying that he has some children he needs to turn into corpses. Yep, real good kids show, Disney. Anyways, he captures the kids, and he's about to kill them right in front of Stan and Ford, but luckily Ford, at the last second, decides to finally let Bill into his mind. And, yeah, it's actually Stan's mind. Yeah, see, their whole plan was, while Bill was distracted, chasing down Dipper and Mabel, they would switch clothes and trick Bill into thinking that he's going to Ford's mind, when in reality, he's going into Stanley's. And in that mind, Bill is finally put to rest with one final message to leave. And so, Bill is dead. Or is he? Let's reverse that message real quick. When you put that message in backwards, because Bill tends to speak in backwards a lot, it reads, AXOLOTL, my time has come to burn. I invoke the ancient power that I may return. Now, you may be curious as to what he means by this. Well, let me explain. So, there's an ancient axolotl who... Let's go into the Book of Bill real quick, whom he tries to trick to let him back into, like, the living world. However, instead the axolotl tricks him into going into some rehabilitation space across time and space. I don't know either. I haven't really read the book. But anyways, now for my time has come to burn. Yeah, his world was destroyed. So yeah, he presumably burned, or in his words, liberated his own universe. Or, I don't know, his own world, I guess? I don't know. And I invoke the ancient power that I may return, once again referring to the axolotl. And, no film theory, right? No map and all that. Yeah, he actually made a theory on this. And, it's actually pretty good. I'll link it in the top right corner if I can remember to. Or in the description, I don't know. But, anyways. I feel like this 3-part special encapsulates the best how he impacts the main cast. He impacts everybody in Gravity Falls. Surely many people will be traumatized by this, and I doubt anyone's ever gonna forget it. So, yeah. It's clear that Bill left an impact on the lives of all the main characters. However, where is he now? Well, see, we can turn to the Book of Bill for that. Now, I don't know much about this book, and I haven't actually read it, because, I don't actually have the book. But, from what I understand, it's basically, like, talking about, like where Bill is now, and other things, like, how the Gravity Falls that we watch is the only one where Dipper and Mabel win. However, there's also... I'm gonna turn to the ending, where you can either accept his deal or not. Well, actually, never mind, I couldn't find anything on that, I don't know. But, Anyways, it appears that in the end, it appears he's stuck in that place that I mentioned earlier called the Terror Prism for the rest of eternity. So, he's just gonna slowly lose his sanity in there, because, trust me, there ain't no way this guy's getting redeemed. Good luck with that one, Bill. Anyways, is there anything else I need to cover? If there is, I'll make a part 2, but for now, I think that's about it. Yeah, post-production, Leon, I just remembered that I forgot to include the Cipher hunt, so I'll make a separate video on that. Sorry. Now remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Bye, go, bye!